welcome in again to be our guest. And at Christmas time, we had Stephen Tears, who is the director of the Montgomery Humane Shelter, and it was so touching. But I love animals, and so I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I would like to teach y'all a little bit more about the Humane Shelter and what they actually do, and how it works, and how you can help. So let's talk about, well, first of all, do you mind if I start out with the feral cats?
No, it's a great program.
Because Carol Brown and I in our neighborhood, we've got them, and we have gotten together and we have trapped them. We have taken them in. You guys are wonderful. We brought them back, released them, and we've got fantastic, wonderful cats that we take care of, and they're not going to reproduce.
That's
So
the key.
what's the procedure there?
Well, if I can, let me begin by saying, so whenever you do TNR, which is trap, neuter, and return, or SNR, which is shelter, neuter, and return, the idea is Montgomery, along with most of the country, has a feral cat problem. The only way that has been shown to address the problem is to stabilize the colonies and allow nature to take its course, if you will. And that's where fixing them and putting them back, you're stabilizing the colony, they can't reproduce, so when spring comes around, you're not having an explosion of kittens.
Right.
If you remove the wrong cat, that's why you see the explosion in population. So if you don't put them back, you're really not accomplishing too much. So when SNR when you bring in a cat, we take it in, we'll house it, we try to get it out same day, if not the next morning. They get altered, they're ear tipped, up to date on shots, and they give them a basic physical. There's not much you really have to do because they're wild. And then they're put back in the trap for you to come back and pick up. So when you re-release it, if you have taken that alpha male and you've put them back in their colony, none of the cats know the difference, right? So everything still happens. Just nothing, there's no reproduction.
Okay.
So, and the beautiful part about the program, when I have them available, even if you have a neighbor 2 doors down that they don't want the cats there are deterrents, right? So if I have them in stock, I will provide those at no charge to the neighbors. So we have harmony in the neighborhood as we establish the balancing of the colony. If not, we have sites you can go to and order them, and they're very inexpensive. Over the years, people have been trapping, thinking they could trap their way to controlling the population. All that has done is created where we are now, the explosion. Montgomery has a huge issue. We've done a few thousand surgeries. It is a long-term plan, and we are 100% in belief that is the way to control the population and stop the number of unwanted cats running our streets.
Well, and I love the fact that you actually clip the top of one of the ears. So, folks, if you see a cat and you can tell that it's been cut right at the top of one of its ears, please, don't worry. That cat has been either neutered or spayed. Somebody has cared enough to do that.
Yep, and they are doing their job. They'll mouse. They'll do the things. Yep.
Mice and snakes and bugs. They're wonderful. So.
Yep. And TNR at some points can be controversial, and we get that. But in other words, if you're a bird person, there's the fear that they're removing birds from the population, and that we would all agree that certainly happens, and we're trying to stop that by fixing them and letting nature take its course. It just takes time.
Okay. And what other, tell me now, let's move to dogs.
Well, I'll give you an overview. The shelter itself we consider what called animal service. So we have animal control, which is patrolling the streets for stray dogs running the streets. Wildlife, if they're fearful of, have been exposed to rabies. We have investigators that enforce animal cruelty, neglect, abandonment, dog fighting. So we have the officers that enforce animal laws that we have been contracted to enforce. We also have animal intake, which takes in about 60% of what we take in through public picking up a stray or owner surrenders when they're scheduled, injured animals hit by cars, things like that. We have the adoption center, which a lot of people know about, which is the big thing, is where people come to find a new forever friend. We also operate lost and found, and that's a big struggle for the organization. If you've lost a pet, please don't assume someone stole it. Don't assume that the coyotes got
Right.
it. Come out, take a look, fill out a loss report, send us an email, post it to us. One of our greatest challenges is stray dogs with no identifying features, no rabies tag, no microchip, and there's no way for us to make a match.
Please identify your pets, please.
Yeah, and actually, about 3 months ago, the city has passed a mandatory microchip law. So if you
Great.
live in the city of Montgomery, you're required to have your dog microchipped after 4 months of age. So when you go get your first rabies shot, your vet will probably talk to you about having the microchip inserted and registered. So all of our officers that work the streets, if a dog is captured, they'll scan them. If that happens to be your dog that had a little bad luck that got out, we will call you and say, hey, we have your dog. Are you
Oh,
around
great.
that we can bring it home to you so it doesn't go to the shelter?
Oh, wow.
So the idea of it is to cut down on the population at the shelter, tax dollars, because that portion is a city-county function. And also cut down on disease and hold times.
Right.
And, just allow the shelter to do its greater mission of being out in the community to help those in need.
Folks, they also work to prevent animal cruelty and dog fighting and all of those things that just never should be. So God bless you.
And truly, if you suspect animal cruelty, so many people are afraid. Just realize animal cruelty is not like my dogs that can sit on the couch. It's not cruel to not let them get on the couch. But if you suspect that, call it in. Let us check it out.
Okay.
Because there's so much that goes on, and it is not geared toward. It doesn't just happen in low income.
I know.
It's everywhere. So don't think that, hey, for example, I live in Wind Lakes, that would never happen here. It does. And, we can't do anything about it, but we need the community's help in those situations especially.
Well, God bless you for everything that you do, and thank you for. I know how busy you are. Thank you for
Thank you
taking
for
the
having me.
time to come in. And folks, you can make donations. Website, and it is
MontgomeryHumane.com.
That's it. So help us out, and thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.